Cool. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, please, if you don't mind.
Um, I'm retired, have been married for 37 years, have one son.
Beautiful. And what did you do before you were retired?
Most of the last years before I retired, I worked for Walmart
Okay,
as in stocking and in maintenance
perfect. Very good. And how long have you been retired?
since 2017.
Good for you. Good for you. Are you enjoying your time?
Yes, it was a very good decision. It was one I didn't know I really needed to make until I made it.
I
And then
see.
once I made it, was 1,000-pound weight off my shoulders.
Oh, well, good. Good. I'm glad. And is your wife, does she work or is she retired too? Or
He was retired also.
good. So you can spend some time together.
Yes, we enjoy each other very much.
Very good. And remind me, Jim, where do you live?
I live in Michigan,
Okay. And
Mount
is that
Morris. It's about an hour north of Detroit.
okay? So you get a pretty harsh winter?
We had a mild winter. Right now it's acting like winter and it's supposed to be spring, but we just got done enjoying some 80s and 70s, and now it's in the 30s and 40s.
Oof. Yeah,
And
quite
then
the
then
swing.
it's going to warm up again, and then it's going to go back down again. It's what it does here.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing for us.
And then will it, like, once it hits a certain point, does it just stay warm then for the rest of the summer? Or do you go up and down throughout the summer?
Yeah, it'll get there. Probably, I'm hoping mid-May. Can't tell from year to year. You still there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I thought I lost you for a minute.
Yeah, no, it froze for a sec, but you're okay.
How's your weather?
Very good, especially because right now I'm in Miami. So
Oh,
I
okay. You're still in Miami. All right.
yes, I departed Pennsylvania in December. I ever since Lyme, my body is a lot more sensitive to the cold, and so I have Raynaud's syndrome. That's probably like one of my last lingering things. But this year was incredibly painful. I got like usually when I walk my dog, I can wear a lot of clothes and sort of be okay. But if my fingers hit a certain point, I know I'm in trouble. And they hit that point, and I usually then just put them under warm water for like, I don't know, 20 minutes and they'll thaw out. But after I thawed them out this time, then they throbbed like excruciating pain that I've not had before. My brother thought maybe I got frostbite. But it scared me enough that I was like, I can't do this. It hurt so bad. I was just like screaming in pain. So, yeah, so no more cold. Yeah, I'm sorry if it's that like hard on your body. I'm very thankful that I can figure out a way to get out of that cold for a little bit.
Well, it is harder than it used to be, but I'm doing okay. Those first 2 years when I was going through Lyme and I was sick, I was cold all the time, year round, pretty much. Layers in the summer, unless it was 90 degrees, you'd still find me in layers. Everybody's out short sleeves. Nah, I'm wearing layers. Didn't care either.
Is that better now
Oh
for you?
yes, much better, way
Huh,
better,
huh. Yeah,
almost
good.
normal.
That's good. I was reading about body temperature and homeostasis and how like my body temperature is always lower and I never really thought twice about it, but they were saying like that's worse for circulation and for like keeping away illness because your blood isn't flowing as fast and things like that. I was like, okay.
For as long as I can remember, my normal body temperature was 97.5, and it
Uh-huh.
still is. But when I was sick, it went down to below 94. I bought a thermometer, took my body temperature, thought the thermometer was wrong, so I went and bought another thermometer and changed. I'm like, oh, that explains why I'm so cold. My
Yeah.
body temperature really is that cold.
Oh my.
I know, I was freaking out. I'm like, whoa.
Wow. Because that's what I'm usually around 97.2. So I'm like
Mhm.
right with normal range, but I was thinking, well, maybe that's actually low. I mean, I know ideally they say 98.6, but then I was reading something else that said that needs to be adjusted
Yeah,
lower nowadays anyways. So I'm not sure what to think about it, but 94 is definitely very low. That I do know.
We're in the normal range right now. We'll take it.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I'll take this any day. That's for sure. Coming from where we did, yeah. And so that's what I was going to ask too. Did you get Lyme in Michigan, do you think? Or when did you first come into contact with that?
Well, my positive test was here, but I spent a summer in Texas in the 70s. And I was in a Disciples of Evangelism workshop internship program. And at one point during the summer, we went away to another area in Texas, southeastern Texas, I think. It's humid and wet. We were clearing land to help someone out. His dad, the guy that was running the program, his dad, he wanted us to help him clear out the land. So that's what we did. So we cut trees and limbs and stuff, chainsaws, cutters, and they told us at the end of the night, check yourself for ticks. And I did every night, check myself before my shower and after. And I'm thinking there's a possibility I could have been bitten then because it was never talked about. And I believe I could have been bitten then. I also believe what I know about me now, what my advisor and I have talked about at great length of my previous life before the actual diagnosis, if I could only talk, is I had a lot of the symptoms of Lyme when I was young. I've had super tender feet since I was very little. Can't go barefoot anywhere unless it's grass. And that's one of the hallmarks of the Bartonella, I believe.
Yes, I agree.
And I've had that since I was 8 or 9 years old. And a lot of the other weird things that I remember now, probably with coordination and just feeling out of place. It was like, I could have had those infections and never knew it. And I just fought them off for many years until the perfect storm came.
Yes, I've thought about that myself, but that's interesting that you can think back and trace your exact symptoms specifically like that with the foot tenderness and stuff.
Could be any number of things, and I could have been reinfected, especially where I live now. One year I was trimming bushes and trees because there was a lot of them and I wanted them gone. I was out in the hot weather, sticky and icky. And the next thing you know, I have a strep infection, and I've never had a strep infection in my life.
Huh.
From that point on, I had lots of them. So I could have been reinfected.
For sure.
When I moved out here in 2008.
Yeah, I've often wondered.
Hard to figure. Go ahead.
It is, but no, I'm going to cut you up. It's like I think about that sometimes. Is like I wonder if people just get bit so many times over their lifetime that then eventually the scale tips into sickness. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think I could agree with that. Very much so.
I don't think that happens to necessarily everybody, but I do think sometimes that there are certain people who can function okay for a while, and then after so long, it just takes them down.
Well, for most of my life, before I got into the bad habits I got when I was working third shift, I exercised regularly and I took good care of myself. But when I started working third shift, that all went out the window. Everything went out the window. Third shift is a rotten thing to do to your body when you're early 50s.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I'm 69 now, so you can imagine.
And how long did you do the third shift for?
14 and a half years.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't think I commend you in a sense. Like I know I couldn't do it. I'd probably go insane.
Well, I have friends that are still doing it even longer. I shouldn't have done it that long, but it ruined my sleep. So many things. When I was doing a study, when I was first learning all about this, some of the factors that will lead you to chronic illness is a sleep shift disorder, of which I had a major one working third shift, and improper diet and all the other toxins and stressors and all of that. It all tied in, and in spring of 2017, I had my perfect storm.
That's what I was going to ask, is when Yep. Okay.
Specifically, I missed half of April with a bad flu. I had flus a lot.
Huh.
Beginning in 2008, 2009, I get the flu a lot, working third shift and being in the public, exposed all the time. I was sick all the time. I mean, every time something would come around, I'd get it. And as time passed, I would get sick for not just 1 or 2 days, like 1 or 2 weeks at a time. And then I would recover afterward, and the recovery would be long. I was just got to where I think I finally just blew up, more or less.
Yeah.
I
And so,
had a bad flu, first part of April, just half of April, back to work for 2 weeks, felt great. Got sick again, missed the first part of May, 2 weeks. After that, my doctor was kind of concerned, why are you getting sick like this? So we started running some tests. Mentioned, I obviously the kissing disease. What do you call it? The kissing disease.
mono. Yeah,
Yeah,
mono.
which I was tested for, and so I got over that illness, and I was sick 2 days later with a massive strep infection, and my throat was super, super sore on the one side, just burned, and it was horrible. And so doctor's office called on the 24th of May, and he said, "You don't have mono, but you've been exposed to it, and you're anemic." And I'd never been anemic in my life. Plus, the previous year, I just finishing battling diabetes. I'd whipped it. I changed my diet, I exercised, and I nearly totally reversed diabetes. It was really great, and I'm still doing well with that.
Good job.
Yeah, and that was probably related to the Lyme as well. They're all tied in. I've learned, and you're learning.
Very much so.
So after you told me what was going on, I asked him, "Well, what can you tell me? Do you have any information to share?" "No, I don't know anything about it." So I went to the library and hit the books. Came home and the health department had called. He had contacted the health department, and the health department called me to confirm. They said I had acute Lyme and that it should be okay, a few weeks with antibiotics. And he asked me what I was taking, what I was prescribed, and I said doxycycline. He said that was a gold standard. Well, I had doxycycline for over 2 months before my infectious disease doctor stopped it. He said, "Oh, you've been taking that too long." And then this never-ending strep infection I had, I went to see the ENT, and he checked my throat, my nose, did a CAT scan of my sinuses, said, "I can't find anything." And then I started experiencing the air hunger. And I was on the phone with him. He says, "Oh, no, that's not strep. I don't know what that is, but you definitely do not have strep." But then when I experienced the air hunger and with the other symptoms I was having, I knew for sure that I had Lyme, because you can't make this stuff up.
For sure.
And when you realize it, and you read it and you realize it, and it happens to you, you just know in your heart what it is true and what isn't. And it was sobering and it was frightening, because I'd never experienced air hunger before. But there were times I'd yawn and I couldn't stop yawning. I just continue and continue, and I felt I would find a way to break it. Or I'd take a breath and I couldn't take, you try to take a breath, you can't get it. You keep trying, trying to get the breath, and it's just not there. And then the fatigue, felt like somebody was squeezing the life out of me in my rib cage. I was dragging a ball and chain. This is in the store. I could picture myself dragging a ball and chain, pushing the shopping cart to hold on for dear life, because I was having trouble walking. I got so weak that it was a gallon of milk was hard to lift with 2 hands with effort. But yet nobody at the grocery store offered to help me load my groceries. Seeing how I was struggling, I thought, well, but that was an exhausting trip, just doing that at times. get out to the car because I was stiff. My joints hurt. Get in the car, drive to the store, get myself out somehow, uncreak it, and unfold and unbend your creaking, stiff body, and then walk to the store. Exhausting, just walking to the store. And you get your stuff and walk out to the car. You get home, that's your day. And that went on for quite a long time, but from the time I first got sick, I refused to stay in bed. I took every strength I had just to get out of bed at times and to walk to the doorway to my bedroom and then to walk to the couch. If when I sat on the couch all day, at least I wasn't in the bed. I didn't know. I was so sick, I didn't know how sick I was. You can probably relate. It shredded your body. It scrambled my mind. It bruised my spirit. I mean, I didn't think you could get that sick. I didn't think it was possible. But it happened. And at first, I didn't really believe I was sick, and I didn't know if my wife believed me. But when things didn't get better, and we did what the doctor said, and then he started gaslighting us, we're like, oh boy, because I've been seeing him for a few months. He'd give me treatment. He'd send me to the infectious disease doc, who did basically nothing. I'd write down what was going on, what I needed. He wanted to do a spinal tap, so we set it up. The day before I was supposed to have it, I had an attack of fierce coughing. So I called him to try to reschedule. I never heard back from anybody. My wife didn't want me to have the spinal tap anyway, so that worked out. I didn't really need it, but yeah. And then after just a short time in the game, we decided we're not going with doctors. We're going to figure out either ourselves or we're going to find the right person. I was determined right then and there. That was it. I'm like, can't afford a merry-go-round of doctors. Don't want to go around a merry-go-round of doctors. So we're just not going to do it. I think God gave us wisdom to do this. He gave us a lot of wisdom. And then after being sick for a couple of months, I decided it was time to fight back. So I went inside with my mind and we're looking for the bacteria, chasing it down in my body, in my mind. And I found it. There's a fuzzy yellow pickle with beady eyes. And I stared it down and it blinked. Then I knew I was going to get better because I had started believing already. My wife and I made a pact. Every day a little better, no time for Lyme. I even made a little song out of it too. And then I used a lot of my scriptures from my Christian training and use those as focal points to set up my plan, my battle plan, because I wanted to fight a multisystemic illness, a multifaceted mind. Because in previous times, I was a one-trick pony. Give me the pills, the antibiotics, give me the quick fix. But I never got better. I kept getting sick all the time. Well, this time I decided I better learn the right way to get better, find the right process, and really follow through with it and stay with it and see if I can actually beat this, because I realized it killed me. My skin was dry, greenish yellow. My eyes were black. They're bright green, but they were black. I'd lost my eyebrows. I already had not a whole lot of hair from meds I've taken in the past and diabetes, and then I lost even more hair. My eyebrows, I had a veil in front of my eyes. Eye doctor couldn't find anything wrong, but man, it was dark, hard to see. You know how that is. And the floaters, and they're floating all around, and you can't see a thing. They're right there. You're trying to talk. Your words are slurring. You can't string your thoughts. And I just, all I wanted to do was fight. Didn't know nothing else to do deep inside, but just to fight. Because a lady who I met in a health food center who started me on the detox foot baths in Frankenmuth, Michigan. She said, when I met you, you were very sick. You were hanging on by a string. I'm like, wow. Says, and you were going to go fall in the pit. We helped to bring you back from that. Like, so my early detoxes were the foot baths, which I still do. And they've been really great for me. And another thing that I did a whole lot in the early beginning was the detox baths. I did several of them a day if necessary. And I was amazed at the stuff that was coming out of my body. I'm like, oh my gosh, cannot believe this.
And
It's
by
sobering.
detox bath, do you mean Epsom salts?
Epsom salt, and I made up a concoction of Epsom salt with baking soda and hydrogen peroxide, and I forget there's something else I put in there too. Those seem to do the trick, that mixture.
Good job. It's very
Yeah.
alkalinizing for the body too with the baking soda.
Yeah, sure is.
Mm-hmm.
It really helped a lot with the getting rid of the air hunger. That was one of the scariest things I experienced was the air hunger. And then walking in a room and thinking you're going to fall. And of course, you know the one where you're walking in the room, there's somebody inside of you walking with you, kicking you around, pushing you around, standing on your shoulders, kicking you in the gut, kicking the ribs. And you're like, how this has to be real because I can't make this up, or either that or I'm delirious. It turned out I was delirious and I was not making it up. The psychological part of this was absolutely the worst because once I went from acute Lyme to knowing I had chronic Lyme, then the symptoms multiplied and worsened because once I attacked these fun bacteria, the antibiotics, then it came at me full force. 2 days after taking the doxycycline, I went to the bathroom. And I was bent over, and it hurt really, really bad. And my legs stiffened up and were hurting. It was a holiday weekend, and my doctor wasn't open, so I found a clinic that was open. Went to see a guy there, and he said he understood what I was going through. Said your body's toxic, very toxic. You're killing all this stuff. The toxins are staying in your body. They've got nowhere to go, so they're just staying in your body. So he recommended some probiotics and some stuff like that to help the balance. But I had no idea. And the first herx I ever had, I had just gotten out of bed, and my body started whipping back and forth like a rubber band, back and forth like this, like a rubber band. And I held onto the doorway to my bedroom to keep from falling on the floor because it was just somebody was just literally throwing me around. It was unbelievable. Wish it could have been filmed. It's true. I kid you not. I experienced it.
I wonder if that was being like angry in your body. What do you think? Why do you think that
Yeah,
happened?
it could have been angry because I attacked it. It also was toxins coming at me too. All those toxins, we just kept releasing more and more toxins. They knew they had me and I was sick, but they didn't like being attacked. So that's how they retaliate.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Yes. I felt like at one point I was a walking toxin from head to toe, just toxin all the way down. That's why I felt. And then also another time I felt I switched medical doctors because the way this guy treated me near the end, our time together, he okayed me for disability through my work. And then he went behind my back and said it wasn't anything anymore. There was nothing going on. That I need to go back to work. He did this behind my back. Because I got a letter from disability saying, you were ordered back to work. And I had no notice of it. So I made an appointment with him, and my wife and I tried to talk to him, and he walked around the room and he wouldn't look at us. And We asked him questions and said he needed to go back to work, and that was it. Had a choice to either quit, be fired, or retire. So I decided to retire because I used up almost all of my sick time and vacation time with this. Fortunately, I had it to use, but I had to make a decision. He put me in a position where I had to make a decision. I was scared. We didn't know if we were going to, what it was going to cost to take care of me. And fortunately, it wasn't too bad because I found a holistic practitioner, a diagnostic nutritional practitioner who had had Lyme and had beaten it and was treating people. I was referred to her by the lady in the health food store. She referred me to her twice. She said the second time, she said, I've done all I can do for you because she and her staff knew a lot about Lyme more than the doctors did, which was really helpful to me because my brain was fogged in like, help me, what can I do? What do I need? Like, tell me supplements or tinctures or whatever, something to keep me treading water till I got the help I need. And then I met the lady that I've been with for 6 years now. And that's when things really began to change. How are we doing so far? Am I answering the questions you have?
Fantastic. You're doing really well. This is a great story. I mean, it's again such a beautiful thing for me to interview people like you because we all have such beautiful stories, and just hearing you talk about this and you say it so matter of factly that you went inside and you saw it as a yellow fuzzy pickle with beady eyes looking at it's like, I appreciate that very much because I think those are the kinds of things that people need to hear to understand really more about how to fix this, right? Like it's not just a straightforward thing. Like,
right.
Some people might think that's a little odd of you to say that, but I often tell people that is like, find it, talk to it.
Yes,
it's a living organism just like we are. And so try to sit with it and tell it, like, I don't want to kill you, but I want you out of my body. Like we've got to
I express gratitude. I thanked it for being in my body. I expressed gratitude and I played games with it. And I manufactured a war in my body, a civil war. I was the North and it was the South, and we designed my diet to starve it. So I starved it, and I shut down the railroad so they couldn't get the supplies. And then General Sherman and I went in and we burned it. I made lasers and tracked it down because my body inside was dark, totally dark. I could see it. There was so much darkness. I could see it and feel it. So I went looking for the river, the sliver of hope and the ray of light. That's what I wanted. That's all I needed to go on. That, and of course, like I told you, it tried to kill me and didn't. So I said, okay, now it's my turn. Because once it blinked and I saw that it blinked, and I believed it, then I believed, I might be able to beat this thing. Now to come as far as I have, I wouldn't have believed it because I am about 85% fully healed. Even my advisor, she told me, because it was the first year, I've been with her about a year. I had the big breakthrough you talk about. I was energy filled, invigorated, nonstop talking, just full of overfilling cup of joy, spring on my step, felt strong and alive. It was like being reborn again, which we are anyway a lot of times. It was a rebirth, and it happened in less than a year. And I couldn't believe it, and my advice says, you're blessed and you're an anomaly. I'm like, anomaly, huh? I'm weird. Okay, I'll take it. And you have to be weird, and you have to be crazy, and you have to use all your tools of who you are, your personality, because I had to fight it with my creative, sarcastic sense of humor, my never-ending, conniving mind. I became it. I told my advisor, I'm going to become like the pathogen. I'm going to sneak up on it. I'm going to be stealthy. I'm going to talk it to death. If I talked it to death, I played Led Zeppelin and freaked it out. I made a tuning fork in my head. I found the YouTube music where you find the specific vibrations to protect the pathogens or the parasites or whatever else. And I determined, and she told me from the get-go, it was in our very first meeting. I never forgot this, and this is what led me to my greatest victory. She said, you've got to get your thoughts involved and your self-talk. You've got to be good to yourself. Says, your self-talk is horrible. And it was. And I knew it. When I was all fogged in that first meeting, you know, I'd been sick for quite some time, very sick, really sick. And, you know, you're in that brain fog and all these thoughts are going around. You're trying to grab whatever you can, right?
Yep.
So I began to do. I began to grab whatever I could get a hold of. And I grabbed that. It's about my thought life, my self-talk. That will be my foundation. That's my first foundation. You got to believe. Once I faced it down and it blinked, I believed. My wife and I, we prayed, we believed. I just, with my advisor and me, we made a plan. You lay your foundation. For me, first thing we did was a metabolic assessment. And that determined that I was parasympathetic dominant and very protein starved. And I eat like crazy, and I eat lots. Even with all of that I was eating, she said, you were still very protein starved. I was about to go embark on becoming a vegetarian. She talked me out of it. Best decision I made. It wasn't going to work for me. No way, shape, or form. She had me eating even more than I was before. I said, don't worry about counting the calories. I did, and I just ate. And I ate, and I ate, and I ate. And changing the diet, specifically getting rid of the dairy and the grains, that'll really clear up your brain fog in a hurry. Nobody's ever told you that. It worked for me.
Yes.
It did.
It's been a long time for me. Same as you, I don't participate with those things.
I'll eat a little bite here and there because the family eats those things, but I don't need them. I don't want them. Because I found when I feel better, I'll have a cheat meal maybe, but not a cheat day or anything. I'm not gonna go crazy just because it's something different, you know. People will get to a certain point, and I've been there too, like, now I want to try all these things that I know aren't good for me, just to see what'll happen. No, I don't want to do that, because I remember how miserable I was before. I'm like, why even poke the bear at all? Just forget the bear. He can wave to you, you know?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with
It's
you.
all about, so the foundation was my thought processes, and then the diet. Then we took me off all supplements for several months because we wanted to introduce the diet and see how my body would respond to a change in diet, and responded rather quickly, actually, surprisingly. My immune system started picking up a lot faster than I ever thought it would, because my immune system was trashed. It was totally burnt out. And I remember what, in my vision, as I was being thrown in the hole, they were throwing the Lyme general was throwing me, my immune system, in the hole. And there was instructions to cover the hole. And those instructions weren't followed. So my brain cells, my immune system, and I were in the hole plotting how to get out of the hole. And the next thing you know, I'm a gleaming phoenix rising out of that hole, staring down that guard. And then I changed to a shape-shifting wolf and I ate him up. I kept on going right on through the corridor. And all these astonished faces of the Lymeville army. And I started screeching like an eagle flying. And every time I got a victory, no matter how big or how small, there was that screeching eagle again. That's my spirit animal. Has been for many years.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
let me ramble on. I'm just
No,
having a blast.
It's like I'm so enjoying listening to you, and you're again, these are so fascinating to me, but like I've thought about being the phoenix so many times through this,
Mhm.
like dying and like rebirthing and rebirthing and rebirthing out of it. That's
Exactly.
one of my images. Actually, I think on my LinkedIn profile, I've typed up my description of me as the phoenix rising out of the ashes,
Good.
because that's how I see this, right? And
Sure.
it's just wild to hear you like have the same analogy. And the shape shifting, of course, Lyme is like the ultimate shapeshifter, but like
Yeah,
we can also shapeshift.
absolutely.
And so I
You know
don't
what I
know.
created in my mind? I couldn't believe it. This became a game. It became fun. I made illness into fun. I know it sounds crazy, but what did I have to lose? I was fighting for my life, so let's just pull out all the bags of tricks. Whatever my brain comes up with, hey, let's try it. And
Yeah,
I've helped a number of people who are very close to me, including my advisors. They like my sometimes my illustrations or my sarcastic descriptions. I'll describe a feeling or a energy or a thought in great vivid detail. And it's a strength of mine. And it's helped me. I can snap myself out of a foul mood without any trouble. There was one time we were having a session in her office when she used to have her sessions in her office. She had her hand on my head and she saw black in there, lots of black. She said by the time we were done talking, there was rainbow colors in my head and we had killed 500,000 cysts. She said, you've killed 500,000 cysts in this session. How? Didn't know how I did it. It's amazing what you can do with your mind, right? You give yourself the right tools, you find the right path. You got to do the detox, of course. Now, the thing that's the really killer, she tried for several months when I first seen her. She talked about the coffee enemas. I wasn't going to do it, scared to death of it. I finally broke down and did it. And after the first one, boom, another breakthrough. Humongous. Just one session of coffee enemas. I did coffee enemas several a day for over a year and a half because my body was really messed up.
yeah,
My liver, she said my liver, my immune system didn't know I had one. That's how bad it was. That's how it's clogging and sludge was in my body. I could see my liver and the ducts were crystallized. So I was living without a liver for a lot of years and didn't even know it. That's how sick I got for the antibiotics and everything else, the poor diet, all the other things I did. And you get that perfect storm, you got to find a perfect storm to get out of it, right?
yes,
If I learned to trust my gut, and she taught me to, you know, find my own path, do what works for me, then you know yourself. You make the plan, you set it up, your supplements, your diet, your detox. I don't take very many supplements now. I used to take at one time when I was really sick over 100 pills a day easily. I take very few now. I take perfect aminos, sometimes a vitamin supplement, enzyme, digestive enzymes. I need those because my gut gets jacked up a lot. The coffee enemas were amazing, truly amazing. I never would have believed. I know other people can swear by them as well, and I can too. They really, really do work,
yes.
and the
Well,
results are out of this world.
I'm kind of interested to know, so do you use just coffee and water or coffee and oil or what, how do you do that?
You boil it in water,
Okay.
and then you put
And
it in a
so,
container. And what?
oh, keep going, keep
Go
going.
ahead. You know how to do an enema?
Yes, I mean, for my Ayurvedic studies, and I've done some, but I've never done it with coffee. I use different herbs and,
Yeah, you can do it with
you
coffee,
do
organic
water
coffee.
based, you can do oil based, but I'm just kind of curious, like what does the coffee do
It
for,
it magnifies the glutathione.
okay,
It it makes your liver like 700 times more powerful.
huh,
Because I learned that as your body is digesting the food and everything that you've eaten, and the drinks, all that runs around your body, 17 times before it even gets to the liver. And then it goes through there another however many times. Yeah, it kind of strengthens the liver function.
Yeah, and we talk about doing that a lot in Ayurveda. Again, there's a procedure called panchakarma, and it's 5 different things that you can do to help to redirect the energy flow in the body. And so depending on what's stuck, what's being pushed, what's being triggered, would more help to dictate what would be a good path to follow. But enemas are one of them to help to like again reinvigorate the colon, you know, just bring in some better nutrients that way.
Sure.
And so I'm just kind of curious. I'll have to look into more of that with the coffee and the liver and the glutathione. I'm curious about that. So do you still do any of that? Do you still do that? Coffee enemas?
I haven't done a coffee enema. The last one was over a year ago, but I may start doing them again. I still do the foot detoxes periodically because I need them, because it seems to be the first place I'm going to have a problem is in my feet. I don't know why, but they will be looking gnarly. They were, when I was at my worst, they were multicolored, scaly. My nails were fungus, eating them away with fungus. And we made them better. And it actually helped I had really bad plantar fasciitis. And it even helped that, because that was part of the Lyme as well. And my foot doctor learned from me going through this too, because I've been seeing a foot doctor for over 20 years. Flat feet, heel spurs, all those good fun things. And then the plantar fasciitis on top of it. I've had foot therapy. He was going to do surgery the last time I was having trouble. I talked him out of it, said when we're around to foot therapy, we made it work. Saved me from surgery, because surgery may not have worked, and it turned out I didn't need the surgery anyway. I needed to detox my body, but I didn't know. We never know.
We don't, but well, I think though deep down inside we do know, and like your body was saying, like, no, I don't really want that. I think we just need a little bit more time, and you listen to that. But you really, I guess, don't know, but I think we have that innate ability to sort of guide ourselves if we actually listen.
Yeah, my spirit was fighting, because my body didn't know what to do. My spirit was fighting for me to get out of the bed. I was just an observer watching all this take place. It was kind of neat. Watching myself struggling out of bed, and then walk to the couch, and I'm seeing all these things I'm doing. I'm an observer on all this. This is kind of neat for a change. I want to do near as much work as usual. There's a lot of work that I did do, of course, but also got to be an observer and to see how it happened. And then when we did the brain retraining, because the physical is a piece of cake, actually. So I'm told, and so I learned. It's not, the hardest part is not the physical. Emotional is pretty hard, and the mental. But the hardest part, and you probably well know this too, and I learned it too, is the spiritual. And this is where a lot of people get bogged down. I was really nervous about this. I wrote down a bunch of notes and haven't even looked at them.
Oh my gosh, you're doing so wonderfully well. I looked at my questions and I was
I've done a few of these. When I was first getting better, a lady in Frankenmuth wanted me to share my story at their health store. So I did that. I did one, and I did a second one. And a friend of mine from college days came all the way from Kentucky to come see me, which was really cool. And then we decided after the second one, says, we need to do a Lyme conference. So in fall of 2018, we had a Lyme conference in Frankenmuth, and I was one of the speakers and my advisor, and the holistic practitioner in the store, and another gentleman named Young, Be Young Living, not Young Living, but Be Young Living. There was 2 of them, they're brothers. He was the other brother. And we learned a lot from him. He'd done a lot of research about Lyme. He also had essential oil formulas that you could use to combat it. Essential oils have been very good for me. My massage therapist had used on me for years. And I learned, I continued to get massages from because I needed those massages to break up the cement-like junk collects on your joints and muscles. I mean, I'd be having a massage and I'd feel my back muscle move on its own. I'm like, that's freaky. And it was the infections that was moving my muscles around. And she'd had worked with a few Lyme patients, but I'd found a recipe for lime balm, essential oils. And we did that a number of times. It really worked well. I don't remember what the components are now. I could probably look it up. I did
And did
massage
she,
and chiropractic. They were both very helpful. In fact, chiropractor I used to have, she was one of 2 people in the first 2 weeks I was diagnosed. She said, this will change your life forever. And it did.
hmm,
Totally new life. I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago.
thank goodness.
In fact, I felt like after I started getting better, especially the changing of my diet, all those aches and pains and creaking and cracking, a lot of that went away because I eliminated the inflammation from my body. Because she told me when we first started, she said, it's like you're fighting 100 fires all at once. We'll have to start taking them down one at a time. 2 months in, after being with the diet pretty regular, I thought I was doing better. She says, yeah, you are, but you're still very, very sick. That was sobering, like, wow, 2 months, giving it all I got. I'm still really, really sick. Ooh.
Yeah, kind of
But I
wild.
started getting better from that point on.
It is an interesting perspective when you look back and you see how sick you really were.
Yeah,
And look, I
it is.
had the same realization. I was like, I didn't realize how sick I was when I was living in that space. Like I knew I didn't feel well, but now that I'm better, it's like I really see how sick I really was.
Yeah,
Uh, and it's a little bit frightening actually to think
it's
that.
frightening, and also at the same time, I'm so filled with gratitude and so happy, and that I was able to do it with
Amen.
God's help and my support. My wife, she's my biggest supporter. She stayed with me through all of it. She only missed one doctor's appointment. We were going to see the doctor. But she stayed with me when I couldn't talk. She would stay with me to try to get me to work to form the sentences, to complete the thought. She stayed with me because she knew I was struggling. She was there to coax me, prod me, whatever it took. Couldn't have done it without her. Couldn't have done it without God. Totally not. Because I cried out to him. Probably knew a year before I was really sick that things weren't right. Because I like to sing in the car and the radio. I was singing and my voice was cracking. I couldn't hear the notes, and I just find myself turned around, couldn't, not finding my bearings, losing my way around a mile from home. Couldn't find where I was at. Library I used to go to all the time. From one day I drove up and down the road, could not find that library. Pull off to the side of the road, looked it up on Google, still could not find it, gave up and went home. You've had days like that, I'm sure.
Oh yes.
And then, of course, another thing I forgot about is I was dropping a lot of stuff at work and forgetting. Sometimes I'd have a conversation with my boss. She'd say, I want you to do this, this, and this. Say, okay. When she'd leave, and I forget 2 of them that quick. So I really thought I was getting dementia. I had all the dementia-like symptoms. And I really thought I was getting dementia. My father had dementia. I thought, well, maybe I am getting dementia too. That's the state of mind I had. I'd come home from work and, take off my glasses, put my wallet and keys away, not be able to find them later in the day. Go all over the house,
Yeah.
15 times. Where are those keys? And then you get to where you didn't even know you could get more angry until you experience Lyme range, which diabetic anger is pretty bad. Lyme range is even worse. I didn't think you could get any more angry than I used to get with my low blood sugar tirades. Yeah, had a few sessions when I got mad at my son over nothing. I got so mad I couldn't control it, and I couldn't stop it either. That was the most frightening part when I get to where I couldn't stop it. That was scary, like, oh. But he survived. He kept doing his thing, trying to make Dad laugh. Because Dad wasn't laughing. Dad was sad-faced. I'd be at work, people talking about stuff. Everybody's laughing, they're laughing. I'm just, yeah. I didn't laugh. I didn't smile. My advisor said, my wife and I went to her office for 4 weeks, and then she started to see a smile. Another big breakthrough.
Yeah, because you actually maybe like want to live again.
And where I'm at now is I'm all about hope, love, encouragement, empathy. And I got my mantra every day, a little better, no time for Lyme. Tenacious perseverance. I wasn't going to give up. I couldn't give up. It's in my nature. It's the way I'm wired. My mother told me a long time ago when I was very young, she said, you never let anything get you down, ever. You always had something that would keep you going no matter what. You be down, but only for a little bit. I've dealt with all the good ones, the depression, the anxiety, never any suicidal thoughts, but some weird ones I know, and some dark, crazy behavior that I would never do normally. I found myself thinking about, I'm like, I didn't know who the heck I was for a time there. I was just spinning around. You know, the key is you have to find a way to get off the treadmill. Because you've been sick for so long, you're used to being sick. So your mind's going to tell you, you're sick, just stay sick. And you're still in that merry-go-round, that hamster wheel. I don't know how I found the way to get off it, but once I got off, I was like, ha, that's how you get off. It's all about get through the physical, the mental, the emotion, of course, and the spiritual, and you retrain, you remake your mind. You go in the rooms in your head. I had rooms in my head where all my thoughts and memories were stored. And we go in there and open the door. We break the chains or blow the dust off, go in that room and see what that memory was. And go in there and sit with it and look at it from a different perspective. And then the over pain or trauma that it caused would be that much less. So then I close the door and I go to the next one. I get about so many rooms in, and then next thing you know, somebody's going behind me and opening all these doors back up again. So I had to go in there and find out what's going on. My inner child did not feel like he was being heard. He wanted to make sure that I was hearing it. So I had to assure him that didn't forget him, that as we're doing this, he's included. So then I could go back and shut those doors again. He went back behind me and opened them all up. It's quite interesting. That was another big breakthrough, is the PTSD. I really never understood it, but when I went inside my mind and I started going into the old rooms of the memories and events that have shaped my life, there were times I would re-experience everything, the whole totality of it. It was freaky. It was like all of the memories, the emotions, and all that just hit on you all at once, and you just had to take it. And the best thing I learned during this, not to fight it, to let it come. You have to learn to let it come. It's all about the flow, the vibrations, the frequencies. I'm like, I knew all this stuff years ago. How did I get so far away from it? And then you're like, well, you still got another shot at it, so take a better shot this time.
That's right. That's right.
Experiencing the old life, and then realizing if you're going to heal, you have to have a new body, a new mind, and all that, because the old you won't fit in the new you because it's different, totally different. You try to bring the old you or your memories. I learned to grieve really quick, to grieve my old life and put it aside. And I grieved, but I was so glad that I found a way to get away from the old me, that I didn't grieve hard like you grieve for the loss of a loved one. This is a person I love. This is a person who was so damaged and hurt he needed to go anyway and be by himself. And I grieved the loss. But wow, you got a new body, a new mind, and you can fill it up with all new things. Get rid of all the gunk and the garbage and the darkness. You got all this light and color. It's something you grab onto and you want to just keep grabbing onto it. The way I felt was like, once I got that first glimmer, I wanted more. I pictured myself punching all them layers, because there are a lot of them. They were enveloped with the pathogens, a DNA strand wrapped around my organs and everything, just suffocated me. I just learned to start busting through them.
That's an interesting visualization. I often think about layers of static, and like there's so many layers of static, and you just have to start like picking one off at a time to kind of just like eventually smooth down that energy. And you're making me think about that, how I see that vision.
Oh, good.
Because it is fully like intertwined, and when you're that sick, like there's just so much of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. It all intertwines and works together because you learn it, you know. One time my doctor now was talking with him when he says, well, what's the worst you feel right now? I said, well, right now, this is before I had one of my breakthroughs, says, I feel disconnected from myself, totally disconnected. It's like my cells are just all disconnected. And they probably were. Literally. I learned, hey, start talking nice to your cells and talking to them. Eventually they'll come back. It's still hard because I'm the kind of a person that's really hard on myself. And I will still have to deal with that. Times will be, oh, here you were back to this old tape again. You're hitting hard on yourself. But through this, I learned to love myself better than I ever have. More gratitude, empathy, hope, love, encouragement, and a desire to help others. I'm not a diagnostician. I'm not know a lot from research. I did enough research to start, get scared out of my mind, and also angry at the same time. I said, okay, now let's see what I can do. I can pray with you, talk with you, send positive vibes and inspirations, and I can connect with your soul in ways I don't understand. But that's what I do. I'm the guy that's in the background. I don't need to be the one out there tooting my horn. I don't mind speaking in front of people and doing interviews. I did a Lyme Voice podcast in 2018 also, along those other 2 talks. And then another friend was doing Facebook Lives, Lyme, the Human Torture Chamber. I don't know if you knew her or not. She was doing interviews on Facebook Live. I did one of those. And my phone was malfunctioning the whole time. It was fun. We kept getting kicked off. She'd get kicked off, I get kicked off. And we didn't know it was Facebook fun or technical. And of course, you got these vibrations within yourself. And then what comes off of them into you. And I had to have the electric meter changed because they put the digital one in there, the high EMF.
Oh.
And boy, did it have an effect on me. And when I took it out, wow, that was another big change. That calmed down a lot of stuff that was riled up.
That's fascinating, because I was just talking to somebody. I used to wear an Apple Watch, and I stopped wearing it because I was thinking of the cellular disruption that it was causing in my body. And I'm trying to explain this to someone else, and they're like, really? Do you think that it has an impact? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was ready to, I was standing on tinfoil to dissipate electromagnetic frequencies. Like I do think that they will affect us. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. I was before I knew what was wrong with me, and that was kind of like a last ditch effort at like, what is wrong with my brain? I don't know what's wrong with me, but That's what I thought it was an overload of EMFs for a while.
Yeah, in the early days, the season changes and the moons and all that would affect me, but now it's every now and then really strong moon or a weather change. I get headaches and sinus issues. And we're experiencing one right now, which probably messed up my voice. We had 80 degrees a few days ago, and now it's in the 40s.
Yeah, that'll get everybody, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And so do you still get a lot of sore throats and strep and stuff anymore, or that's pretty much a thing of the past?
Just when I got COVID last year, I had a
Okay.
reoccurrence of, it was beautiful. It was a little bit of sniffles, and it hit me all of a sudden. Just, I was down. It was like strep, flu, pneumonia, bronchitis, all at once. And it was horrible. And I got very, very weak. I just sat on the couch in a fetal position, coughing and hacking, went in the bathroom and coughing the junk up. It just came up, all kinds of it. My wife was there with me. I could picture her in my mind. There was these tall rows of shelves, and we were taking stuff off the shelves and putting them away. And what it was a crud was in my body. We were taking it off the shelf and disposing of it in the toilet. It was multicolored phlegm, thick. I was so weak. It was unbelievable. And I even stopped eating, and that's when it got bad. So my wife got scared. She thought I was going to die. But she kept on, stayed with me. And I began to eat a little bit at a time, a little bit more. And then once I started eating again, big change. But went to see my doctor. It'd been over 2 weeks. I had to schedule a regular appointment. One more drop of water here.
Yes, sir.
They had me get tests run. They had me get a chest X-ray and a scan. They were checking for pneumonia and blood clots. I had a pretty healthy pneumonia from it, but no blood clots.
Thank God.
And I had fatigue that lasted for several months. My doctor called me after the tests were done. She said, "Your body did a really good job of fighting this." I says, "Oh, good." And that was good to know that I could fight something as nasty as COVID.
Yes.
And I didn't have anything to fight with. I had an immune supplement, and I went through that quick, and it was done. And I was too sick to go anywhere, so I just had to fight it out. And power of prayer and my fighting spirit, whatever it is God's given me to fight, like I fought it off. Because I could sense the darkness, the cold and the darkness from it, the low vibration. These buggers are evil.
Yes.
My advisor told me, she said, "You will literally have to rebuke this from your body. It is a devil." So I did. I told others about it as well. I did. Because the evil gets in there from the low vibrations.
Yes.
And where you get rid of the evil, if you don't put something good in there, come back with 7 more. It's what it says in the Bible. So it's a constant, what? Pardon what?
Come back with 7 words? Is that what you said?
7 more demons worse.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't remember where it's at exactly, but it's one I remember a lot.
7 more.
When I try to do my inner cleansing, like, okay, you learn the basics, you want to learn the basics. With this, I hadn't learned the basics. I hadn't learned enough about it to know what it was as far as I could know, and how it behaved, and how it attacked me, and how it did what it did. It destroyed my communications, it attacked my blood cells, it attacked my nerve cells, and it shut down my immune system. And I had to learn, okay, now it did that. Now what can I do to fight it? So you learn who your enemy is, on a battle plan, you execute it. You're going to get kicked back and knocked around, because there were times where I'd be doing a treatment. Man, And bugs that I was killing did not like me disturbing them. And I'd really pay. And what we would usually do is back off, cut it down, or totally stop, give my body a chance to catch up because of being overtaxed. And I learned really early on in this the balance between the killing and the detoxing, the balance, because I didn't really care for herxing at all, not in the least.
No.
And I thought, those people that I love people that do what they do. I'm like, why would you intentionally go out and do something that make you herx just because? I don't know. Seems like when you find a balance and the path, you want to stay there. I'm one for learning it well, and staying with it. And I don't want to vary, and I don't want to. Things could happen in my life in the future that could make this all come back again, but it take a lot of it. But the biggest thing, you got to have a strong mind and a strong heart, strong spirit. With that, you can lick anything. This stuff even makes you think that you changes who you are. That was sobering. It changed my mind. Changed your mind. It changed your cells. Changed everything. Like, so we have to remake ourselves to get ourselves back.
That's right.
So enough. My advisor said, I will remake you. We're going to remake you from the top down. And I was excited to hear that. So I was all on the board. She said she would be excited to work with me. And I felt the same way. We talked for an hour and a half or something when I first contacted her. Started with her in September of 2017, and I'm still with her.
Wonderful.
I used to have personal visits, and then I switched to phone calls. And then after her mother died, she moved up north where her mother's house is, and she works totally remotely now. She doesn't do in-person consults anymore.
Okay.
But she knows all of it. She knows all the disciplines, all the nutritional, the oils. Now the last few years we spent a lot of time brain work, and now we're doing body work to her, balancing the body and the mind, and learning how to retrain my brain to get it off the treadmill, the regurgitating thoughts. Now I've got the brain doing better. I've got to separate from the brain and learn to listen to the body again, because they all got to go hand in hand. I've always been one good to listen to my body, but then at a certain point when you're all screwed up with illnesses and traumas and stresses, the wiring gets crossed. Your body and your brain don't work the way it's supposed to. And it would be like, I would think I would be having a relapse of symptoms. No, it wasn't that. My brain was trained still at that point. Any kind of a certain sign of physical symptom in me, my brain would say, you're having a relapse. But it wasn't that. But I thought it was. It's kind of a psychosomatic trick that my body was playing on me with my mind. And they say minds aren't powerful.
They're insanely powerful.
They really are insanely powerful.
Yes, thank God. And we still own our own brains, and we can still control them, as far as I know. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. Very much so.
Yes. And that's what I think about sometimes, like, you know, given that this is called the silver lining, and just hearing you, it made me think about, it's like, it's not about what happens to us, it's about how we react to it. And
exactly. Right.
So we've got to retrain or shape shift our perception of the things that have happened to us to be on the light side of looking at them versus the dark side. That really makes a big difference. And hearing you talk about,
stay away from the extremes if you can.
Yes, but hearing you talk about it like an actual battle, I love that. But you also see it as light and dark, and that's where I see it. That's the space that I come out of and talk from too, is that it's just like, that was such a dark hole, and like just such darkness. And it really took a lot to reconnect with the light. But ultimately what helped to pull me out was being a child of God again, like a child of the light, like going back into that space. You might be the only other person I've interviewed thus far that's actually like really talking about it so clearly, of light and dark like that too.
Really? How many people have you talked to?
I think actually you're my 7th person.
7th?
So yeah, my lucky number 7.
Oh,
That is one of my angel numbers actually. But
oh, good.
it's been, again, it's just been really beautiful, and hearing people, we all have such similar things, but the spiritual component is huge.
Mhm.
And it's one of the most intangible and hardest to explain to someone.
Sure.
And I often think, like, really, when was that switch flipped fully inside of me? Because like you can hear the words, but then if you don't actually have that feeling behind it, like that belief that you were talking about, like you have to believe it with your whole being.
Mhm.
And then I think that's when that switch really flips up fully. It's like just like this whole feeling that comes through your body that you know.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm glad to hear you talking about that. And then a random thing that popped into my head, which is kind of like, again, off topic sort of, but you were talking about with your feet. I wanted to just remember to tell you, potentially you can soak your feet in castor oil.
Oh,
And that would help with all the other things that you had going on with your feet too. So if you soak your feet for like half an hour a day for a week, just see if that makes a difference at all.
castor oil, huh?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I know Epsom salt. The other, and I've got a friend who has a rifle machine with a foot bath hooked to it. We do foot baths occasionally with her, and we'll set it on lymph detox, the strongest
Cool.
one that she has. That or even the Lyme program, because even though I feel like I'm pretty much healed from it, still need to do the maintaining. Because once
Yeah.
you get to a certain point, like where you're at, now I'm there now. It's all about the maintenance, and then learning to reincorporate regular life versus the other. Because I stopped viewing it as a disease after a time. It didn't take long. I don't know. It wasn't a disease. It wasn't an enemy. It was just something that my body, my mind, everything was all out of balance. I had to get the balance back. I had to find the, the gyroscope that was in there. Everything was out of balance, out of whack, and everything was going so fast, so very, very fast. I couldn't comprehend the speed. You know, when you feel that your entire body is shaking while the stuff's going on inside of you. The body was really going fast, trying to fight, and then it was getting inflamed, and the inflammation was getting inflammation, and then you have you attack yourself with your own thoughts because you feel bad about feeling bad. You have to work through that. But I've been through a number of therapies in the past through being over medicated and having hypoglycemia and a lot of other things. So I had a lot of the tools to begin with. I thought Lyme was just another notch on the post, but proved to be anything but. Wasn't nothing you can get rid of in a month or two. And then when I also was really helpful when I tried trying to put a agenda or a time frame on it. I just said, let's just go and see what happens. Let's not put a time frame on it. Because you want to do this. That's what we're taught. You can do this in X amount of days. You'll be healed. Tore my rotator cuff. The doctor said, you'll be healed in 3 months. I'm like, dang, doc, I'm not dumb, but I know better. You ain't going to heal in 3 months. But, so it's the same thing with this. Once I learned another breakthrough, not to put a timetable on it, and it changes. And the gratitude, oh my gosh. I've been reading all these emails and I got all these emails and all these themes of gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. So I said, well, I've not done it enough. Let's just do it. And that's a big catalyst in itself. That's a very high vibrational word. Love, gratitude, faith, hope, love, joy, all of those. Once you start changing those vibrations around, because you can do it yourself. That's a lot of people don't think. I think they don't think they say they do, but we can do it ourselves. We don't need anything artificial to do it with. There are things within us, we can do it ourselves. We do it with God. There are tools that we have, and we have the oils, we have the supplements, and there's a different training, the training you have, the massage, chiropractic, so on and so forth. A lot of things we can do to get better. It's a lot
Very
of
much.
work. That was worth it. And
Yeah, it's huge. It's worth you're the best investment you can make in yourself, and to get your quality of life back and to be able to function and to feel well
yeah,
again, and hugely worth it. Yes, very
told my
much.
wife stuff I never told her. We've been married 37 years, and I was telling her stuff when I started getting better that she'd never heard before because it was all locked up in there. There's so many things that came out, things I hadn't remembered out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do remember that now. But it's kind of cool because I thought those memories were gone forever. I didn't think I'd get them back, but I got them back and some more, and to make the new ones too.
That's beautiful. I'm glad.
I do not like this squeaky voice, but we'll deal with it.
You're doing all right. Well, I appreciate it. And again, this has been so helpful to me to hear you, and just I love the analogy of going into battle. You are an ultimate true warrior. To commend you on the fact that you reversed your diabetes. Kudos, that's huge. I want more people to hear that just in and of itself.
Sure.
But then you also fixed yourself from Lyme disease, and it sounds like you had other tick-borne illness going on too, like Bartonella and some
Oh
other.
yeah, Bartonella, Babesia, probably some mycoplasma,
Yeah.
and a few other fun ones. They were
Yeah.
there. I didn't get tested for them. Rawls said if you read it, and you identify it, you don't really need to get testing for it because you actually probably do have it. You recognize it and you read about it, and you do.
Yes.
And I didn't have the money for all the testing anyway, so it all worked out. And the lady I'm working with, I've done very well as far as what I've had to pay out of pocket to get better. And what she's taught me, she showed me ways to save money, and with her knowledge and expertise, if something was not affordable, she could find something that was affordable. And more often than not, and I do this all the time, essential oils are really big. I mean, they're like magic.
Which one?
Essential oils,
Okay. Yes.
many of
Yeah.
them. My vapors are peppermint, lavender, frankincense,
Yes.
lemon, orange.
Got
I use
one.
all the time. Yeah, lavender.
Yeah.
Peppermint for headaches, lavender for headaches. If you got anxiety, put some lavender or some peppermint on your sternum. Diffuse this stuff. Orange is good for anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm learning, still
And
learning.
I think diffusing is actually like the best way to get it into, especially to help to penetrate the blood-brain barrier, because my understanding is that essential oils are the only thing that is small enough particle to cross the blood-brain barrier. Like antibiotics and stuff obviously can't readily penetrate those areas. So I found that I had a lot of help with essential oils too. So that's interesting that you're bringing that one up.
Yeah, sometimes just take the bottle, take the top off and sniff.
Yep.
That's very good as well.
Yes. And so I was curious with your massages that you had with essential oils. Did you ever get the raindrop massage technique where they actually drip the oils down your spine? I think
Yeah,
they do it to your
she didn't
feet.
really tell me that, but she did. There were times where she would do that, and it startled me because it was cold when I felt it. Yeah, she did. She would sprinkle it on me like raindrops. Yeah, she knew all that, and now she herself, the last 2 years, is training to be a naturopath.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, she's even given some free classes out. She had class on. I missed her class on vaccines because I happened to come out when I was sick. I think no, her class on COVID. I happened to be sick when that came out, but she's in classes on essential oils and craniosacral, all kinds of stuff. She gives them out free.
That's great.
And we've been friends for a long time. She's quite a bit younger, but she's super, super smart. A beautiful person, beautiful human being. And I've watched her grow in a lot of ways. She's now without both her parents and single, but she rocks. You rock.
Well,
I love watching you when you doing those videos and you 30 days of yoga. And I watch those like, man, I can't do yoga with a lick yet. I keep trying though, but my balance is still really bad.
keep practicing. That's the idea. And maybe have you looked into yin yoga? Are you familiar with that version? Y-I-N, yin yoga. I was just talking to my dad about this, encouraging him a little bit to explore, but yin yoga is usually a little bit more of a supported type of yoga. Maybe you're seated or you use a block or something to help you. And it's just like longer holds of postures to really just go slow and stretch.
Okay.
And you know, just to help to relieve that tension in the muscles, to, you know, pull them apart again, to open them up, just really helps to smooth and to help that balance as well. So
I might have an ebook about chair yoga that I downloaded somewhere.
yeah.
I'll go look for it. If not, I'll find it. But I'd heard other people talk about chair yoga before too, and thought, yeah, that might be something to do because I'm not a kid anymore. My brain doesn't believe it, but I'm not a kid anymore. I do pretty good. My age, actually, they tell me.
Yes, you're doing fantastic. And my gosh, all the things that you've overcome. Hello. Like,
Oh yeah, there
in the body, you know.
was 2 or 3 times I was over medicated for seizure meds. They messed that up, and they tried to take me off of them, and they messed that up. And I knew I had a nervous breakdown a couple of times, but I fought through all of it. And I guess I'm pretty tough.
That's right.
It's helpful because then I can show other people, you know, you can do it.
That's
Have I
correct.
given you enough that when I shared enough that I could probably help others as well? Because I help others. I don't go big, but there are a few people I will help. I'll go intense conversation with them and just let it all out. But I'm not gonna berate them because some people will only go so far, some will go farther. So everybody's different. We just have to accept one another. That's the key. I never thought I was any better than anybody. So I'm like, gee, how come I'm better and they're not? That don't make sense. But that's how it worked out.
That's right. I've thought about that as like, why did I get better too? And other people are still sick. And I think hearing stories like yours will help others to have the hope. Again, I feel like hope sometimes can give people the courage to heal. And hearing you, and you're admitting, yes, it's hard work, but it is worth it. And so the more of these stories that people can hear, I think will just help to move more people back to the light. And it's so important.
Make it into fun. It's even better.
Exactly.
I made it into a game.
To do that. Yeah, I would like. I love that. When I was so sick, I probably would have been like, "You're in your game. Leave me alone."
Yeah.
But looking back now, I think that would probably have been a really great approach to try to do, at least to encourage myself a little bit more, is like to turn it into more of a game, as opposed to like I saw myself as a soldier going into battle, but it was like, you will march, you will go, you will, you know, like I didn't have fun. There was no fun. I'm just learning how to have fun again a little bit in life because I was so focused on fixing that
Sure.
fun didn't even exist in my brain. So
I'm a confessed perfectionist. That I had to learn to get away from that a lot too, because
completely.
it's not worth it.
No, you
Lost
drive
myself
yourself
for no
bananas.
reason.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that can be a hard one to let go of sometimes. I struggled with that. And I think that was part of this whole lesson, is learning how to let that go a little bit.
When you get this sick and it's chronic, then you realize there's a whole lot of extremism going on here. And none of it is for your benefit. So let's see what we can fix.
That's right.
Let's see what we can learn. Because I'll learn something new every day. There's people like to research all the time. I just like to be in the moment and see what I feel and what I think, how I relate to others. I like to connect. It's fun to connect, just to hear ideas, thoughts. Got this young kid comes over from a church, and we have Bible discussions. And I'm a former minister and Sunday school teacher, so I can get pretty riled up and going away. And he's a different denomination. I don't care because we're relating at this point. And when I was my sickest, he was at my door all the time. He came to see how I was. He knew I was sick. He didn't know what was wrong. but he was there. God sent him to make sure I was okay. Great young man. It's the kind of stuff that cheers you up, isn't it? I
The
called
kind
it
of
to God
stuff
and
that
he
lets
answered.
you know you're not alone, you know?
Yeah, and he told me he was going to heal me in spite of myself. I didn't feel I deserved it. Still don't. But you don't want to argue with God too often because you'll pay for it. I know that for sure. Oh, you don't want to try this, huh? Okay.
Well, I just think it's not one that you're going to win. So
Not when you're going to win. You can
better
keep
not
trying.
to argue.
And I'm one that will keep trying. But I know I'm going to pay for it. Like, but I got to try anyway. It's in my nature. I just got to try.
I think that one really hit me, and just I think so many times in my journey and how many times God did send angels to check
Yeah,
to make sure I was okay.
totally.
So I'm really glad that you had that too.
Oh, yeah. My advisor, I told her, I said, thank you for helping me get better. She says, I didn't do it. God did. She calls my wife and I her God candy because we'll have. So I have discussions with you, your wife, that I can't have with other people. You get it. And we have the most incredible conversations.
That's a beautiful thing, and just to have your
Yeah.
mind back that you can have those conversations again, to be able to follow through and to connect with people again. And that was a big hole when I was sick through the sickness. Like, you lose that ability to connect. Your brain is just like not there to connect, you know? And it was
How'd you get the idea for the book?
so dark. I think like a couple years ago, I had the idea to do a podcast called The Silver Lining.
Okay.
And I started on it with a girl, and we had met a couple times, and then she had a lot of other stuff going on, and it just sort of got shelved. And I've been working on my own story to share. And if for whatever reason it just dawned on me, it's like, not so much my story, it's all of our stories, right? And I just really want people to hear others getting better, because when I was sick, that's one thing that I could grab onto or gravitate towards, was hearing about others getting better. But I didn't find a lot of people. There are not a lot of stories about people getting better. There's a few, but not a lot. And so I really just want to try
Are
to
you
share
finding
more.
more though? Are you
Pardon?
finding more now though? Does it seem to be getting a little better?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Like, I have, again, I think you're number 7, but I have like 3 or 4 more interviews lined up, and I'm just sort of starting. And so that's what I had ideally thought to make just a collection of stories in a book. And I'm definitely going to do that. But then I feel like I could do this more on a longer term scale through a podcast, and just be able
Nice.
to share that with people, whether it be monthly or weekly. If there's enough people, it'd be awesome to do weekly, and just help people hear these stories more readily, in a concentrated place, because again, hope, I feel, just gives people courage to heal. And if you know that someone else did it, you can do it.
Have you ever checked out the Lyme Voice podcast?
Mm-mm.
Never heard of it?
No, the Lyme Voice.
Lyme Voice, check it out.
Okay.
Sarah Sleety is a host of it, her and her husband.
Okay. And did they do stories of people getting better too?
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Okay. Okay.
She even had a podcast one time on coffee enemas.
Okay. Cool.
But when I did my story, my viewpoint was how I used my mind to get better. That was my focus. If you ever go in there and look up in their archives, I'm either 66 or 67, one of those. It's been 5 years since I did it.
I will certainly.
I was scared to death to do it, and it came out terrific.
Yeah, just like this.
So I get a recording of this?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh,
This
yeah.
has been a blast.
I agree. I really appreciate your time. And you're giving me the thought that it would be nice to actually send the other people the recordings that I've done with them, so that they have those. But my idea now at this point will be to start launching this May 1st. So I have somebody helping me to do a website, and then Because it's Lyme Disease Awareness Month, I just thought that would be good timing to start posting them. I've got to figure out how to put the podcast. Yeah, I think I want to put the videos onto YouTube, but I think I can do a podcast on, somebody told me like Spotify or something, that I can just do it myself. I just have to still figure that part out. So I've got a couple more days I can figure that out. But I'm really
This
excited.
is my 6th year, but I actually feel like after a little over 2 years, I kicked most of it out. I felt that so much better. And we
Yeah.
claimed the healing, wait for my body to catch up. And then the next time she told me, she says, "Oh, I think you're healed. You just more healing to go on." But says, "As far as this Lyme and this other, you got this beat." I'm like, wow. I mean, you told your blessing and allow me, and to really know it and believe it and to feel it is just so gratifying. And I'll meet people when I have work on my car or anything. Pretty strange. I'll just blow out my story, just boom, piece of cake. Sometimes there's a moment and I can do it, I'll do it. One time was Lyme Awareness Month. I talked to a young man at a bank. I was wearing a hunter's hat, lime green colors. Says, "You hunt?" Says, "No, this is for Lyme Awareness Month." "You know anything about Lyme?" "Nope." "Okay." You learned that
Here I
you got
come.
a quick version. But it's good to share this because I also learned and you learned too.
That's right.
Sharing about this makes you stronger and stronger and stronger because it solidifies and it affirms everything. And it just sends it out to the universe. We're sending stuff out to the universe right now that's going to help people we've not even met. That really just blows me away. First time I ever heard that, like, so I'm helping people right now that I've never even met. I like it.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
From the bottom of my heart. And that's all we can hope for, right? Is just
Sure.
these words find the right people and they lift them out of the space that they need to be lifted out of in that exact moment in time. And I'm just so grateful for people like you to be willing to talk about this, to share, to help, to have others be able to maybe see their way out of it.
Sure. Absolutely.
Would you say, I feel like you've given a lot of good advice along this interview. Would you have any final parting words of advice for people? Or
Wow. I already gave a lot already, didn't I?
I know, I was like, I feel like you gave a lot. I don't know if you have any other
Now,
thoughts.
see,
you
now,
wanna
let's
add,
give
but
it a quick think here now. I guess the hard, you have to believe in yourself first and foremost more than anything else because a lot of people don't have any support of any kind. And that's the hardest. But you got to believe in yourself, trust your gut, and just find your own path and just stay to it, stay with it, persevere tenaciously,
yes.
and give it everything you have. Pour your whole heart into it. And it won't be easy. Boy, it won't be easy. I mean, nothing like you've ever experienced. And when you come out on the other side, you have so much to tell. Because once you get to the other side, you know you're on the other side. You look back like, I don't believe I did it. I really did it. Miracles I've seen and experienced and helped to foster miracle. Miracles do exist. God is real. Miracles are real. Angels are real. Oh, definitely angels are real. A lot of guardian angels. I wore a lot of my guardian angels out my younger life. They told God, say, man, he's wearing us out. Well, let me get the devil here. I'll get him to knock him down a couple of notches. And he did. Sometimes that has to happen that way. But yeah, that's, set a foundation, find what works for you. You got to execute it. You got to stay with it. And if you get knocked around, you still got to stay with it. You can't, it's hard to not get the negative mindset when you get knocked around a lot. But I didn't. I just kept going forward. I go back 3 or 4 steps, go forward, and then eventually you go from having a month with 2 nice days to a month with a week and a month with 2 good weeks. and a whole month of good. And then it just kept going from there. I'm like, I can't get enough of this.
Yes,
You know what it's like.
I do
Does
very
that,
much
does that
so.
help any? Did that answer the question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good. Thank you so much, Jim. I really, really appreciate this
Anytime.
connection.
If you ever want to talk again about anything, hit me up. I
Yes,
enjoy
please.
talking and relating, and I know a couple things.
Yes, I enjoyed talking and relating with you as well. Thank you so much. You know way more than just a couple things, and you
Yeah,
know
a
it.
friend of mine told me that the lady in my Lyme support when I was looking for support my early days. I found her and I found a Lyme support group. Very small. We're not doing nothing now because of COVID, but we're a very small group. We're tight. And I would call her every day, 2 or 3 times a day. I probably ask the same questions over and over again because my fogged in and losing it, stress and all that. She'd take the time to be patient. And then one day, I actually had to go to a support meeting. Even then, they knew I was close to death at the support meeting. She said, "Oh yeah, you were right there, right on death's door when you came to see us." And then when I started getting better after time, she started having me share and do more leading in the meetings and stuff, and it was fun.
Yes, good.
I like to teach. I like to educate. I like to help people. That's just what I'm all about. Just what my father was, my mother, dad told me about people, mom told me about books. I got the best of both worlds.
Yes, it's an awesome gift to have. And I would also say that you're pretty clairvoyant, and the visions that you have are so good and I think easily relatable for people. So keep sharing,
Yeah.
because
I
again,
like to
it's
take
just
the complex and make it simple, and
mhm,
then
but
make it relatable. I like to express it.
yes, but you have a good way of doing it. So keep doing it.
I do. I found my place.
Yes, yes. And you found your way back into the light. So
Yes, I did. Very enjoyable.
yes,
You did
perfect.
too.
Yes, thank God. Thank God.
Yes,
Thank
thank
God.
God. A million times.
From the bottom of my soul. Yes. Well, perfect. I will send you a recording of this then, and I'll try to let you know a little bit ahead before I actually release this version so that you know when to expect it as well.
Sure.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time too.
Oh God, my pleasure. I'm so grateful to be able to be here to do this and like I kind of feel like it's an honor. I'm like, I've talked to so many sick people and it can be a lot, and it really can weigh heavy on the soul. But then the thought of like doing these stories instead, and it's not instead because they're so heavy and
Right.
hard first like to get through, but then it's like, oh, it has a good ending. And so it's a little bit of a better energy for me where I'm at with my
Sure.
healing journey too. It's like more inspirational, more uplifting. And that again just mirrors a little bit more of my own path. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, because they tell us, my advisor would say, you're a strong feeling. Just says if you want to help everybody, but I had to learn when to not try to give too much because it was taken away from me. I had to learn to find my barriers, my boundaries. I was the best one. I go run around, heart wide open, hind end uncovered, smashed, crashed, boom, kicked, beat up. A lot of times, and I finally learned to cover my butt and protect myself because that's a big part of it. A big part of it.
Huge.
But they tell me I have a big heart, and I believe it. Got it from my grandmother. Her was a bigger name, buddy, probably the better evangelist than even Billy Graham. My grandma was amazing. I had her heart and spirit I'm blessed with, and it's wonderful. You can't beat it. You can't. I wish I could bottle it and sell it. But all I can give away is what I have. I don't have any silver. I don't have any gold. I have Jesus and what he has given me, who I am, what I know I am, and I can give that. If I can do it through this, just meeting people at random, smile, uh, meeting of the eyes. I like to do that a lot. Connect a lot of people that way. Meeting of the eyes, smile, few words, boom. Working at Walmart, sometimes people come up to me, start telling me their life story out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa, okay. Make sure I don't get in trouble by the bosses for standing talking to this person, but I was able to work and listen to the person at the same time. And there was never any issues with it. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. cancer survivors and all kinds of people just tell me their life story. I'm like, wow, I can benefit from this greatly. Or somebody be having a bad day, and because I'm some kind of conduit, boom, they come to me. Sometimes I get the raw end of the stick, but I'm like, okay, I'm built for this. One lady one time, she says, I gave you a hard time earlier, didn't I? Yeah, a little bit. Well, that wasn't meant for you, right? I do now, but you learn.
Yeah.
You got the kind of person I have where people relate to you easily. You get the good and the bad. Like a friend today, I unknowingly hurt her really badly and didn't know it. I was trying to make a joke of something we were talking about, and she was really hurt. I'm like, oh, good. I'm gonna go to this session today with a broken heart. So pray for her and pray for me.
Yeah.
I told her she should want to talk to you. I'm still going to try to get her to do so
Oh,
because she
good.
knows you.
Okay. Okay.
Hopefully she will.
That would be nice. You know, tell her I'm not scary.
So what?
I said, tell her I'm not scary.
Oh, you're not scary. No. Absolutely not. Neither am I.
Yeah, no, you're a beautiful person. And I'm really, again, glad for this time together and to learn you a little bit better as a person. And it's one of the downfalls on Facebook is like, you see people, but sometimes you don't really see people. And so this was just a really nice way to connect with you.
Well, if you write back and forth with me, we've had some discussions, you and I. I think one time you asked me if I was an empath. I think you were one of the first ones to ask me that.
Mm.
I'm like, what is an empath? I'm like, oh, okay, now I get, because I heard that word. I'm like, I know I was highly sensitive, could feel stuff, not knowing how or why, could figure out stuff, could read people, could grab their souls. But is it real? Well, I guess it is real.
Yeah, yes. There's highly sensitive and then there's empath. And I'm definitely putting you into the empath.
And I
Kind of
send out, if you need them, positive rainbow healing vibes. That's one of my stocks in trade. I send them out all the time.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
People ask for prayer and love. I'll send them a text saying, and the lady write back, I feel your love. I'm like, oh, wow, this is too powerful. Even over social media, you can send out the vibrations in our texts. Because I could be on Facebook reading a post, and you can feel the vibe like, oh, I bet there's a dogfight going on over there. Open it up. Yep. See ya. Left a lot of groups because of those dogfights.
Yes. Energy goes wherever, and distance is nothing when it comes to energy. So I would wonder, have you ever explored Reiki to become a Reiki practitioner?
I am a Reiki practitioner.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not practicing it a whole lot, mostly with my wife, but I did go to school to become a massage therapist.
Oh,
And I
cool.
was certified. Then later on, they changed it. You had to be licensed. And then after I tore my rotator cuff in 2014, I decided I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So I wanted to find probably going to get into some kind of energy work down the road eventually, I think. But yeah, I do Reiki and I believe in it a whole lot. I have some Christian friends who say that it's of the devil. I'm like, it is it? I don't understand.
No, but I'm just thinking about you when you're shooting rainbows at people. It's like that's a lot of what
I loved Reiki. When I learned Reiki, it was an extra course to take. I took it and I loved it. I believe in it wholeheartedly.
Very
And I
much.
used it when I was doing massages. I used it a lot.
Yes. But that's what that made me
It's
think
spiritual,
about.
but for me, being a massage therapist is all about the energy anyway. The name of my business, if I had one, or it was energy flow massage. Because the energy would come from my hands, come from the person's body, back and forth.
Yes.
And sometimes people would drain the heck out of you.
Yes.
And then you'd have to, reground yourself. Other times you have the people that, as the one that says, gotta tell you, I'm electric. She was sparking. I mean, literally sparking. Her body was sparking. I was sparking.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow.
It was just one of the best massages I ever did. I remember. I said, I spark. I said, okay, all right. No, I said, I literally spark. When you touch me and we connect, we sparked. It was cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and for me, I found it. The energy connection was healing from my ailments that I had in my body. I connect with another's energy, and it would retrain my energy, even before I learned Reiki.
Yes,
It is
yes.
amazing.
It
So,
is an amazing thing.
so you know all about the chakras and everything too, then, right? Are you a Reiki
Mhm.
practitioner?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right?
I did only to level 2 at this point, and I'll
Right.
see if I go on to the next final level, but it's just more practicing with the energy and sending love. Like I do a lot body scans and send love to people, and I have had sessions where like I picture shooting hearts at them, and
Mhm.
they actually like after the session, people that don't know me, or they're like, wow, I kept feeling like just this overwhelming feeling of love, or it's like yeah, yeah, you felt it good. I'm so excited, but
Sure.
it's fun to do that for people.
Did you shoot some at me?
Always, yes, I've been shooting at you.
Yeah,
I
I thought
want
you
to just
did.
give you a big hug,
I was
and
seeing them.
yes, and I appreciate you very
I
much.
send out hugs and vibes to people all the time.
Yes, and I was curious
I'll talk to
too.
you right now too as well. This has
Thank you.
been a wonderful. This was great. This is
I
better
was,
than I could have ever imagined.
oh, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that, and
Oh,
it's
sure.
just it is so fun for me to hear this and to connect with you like this. And I'm curious. I'm thinking about. I got into chirology too, which is palm reading.
Right.
Um,
I saw that.
yeah, and so I'm kind of curious as you're talking. I'm like, I bet he has a radial loop for your fingerprints. So if you have a chance and you're in good light and you feel like it, I'd be ever so curious to see what your hands look like, just to kind of match up what I'm thinking that they should look like in comparison. Just for fun, but you don't have to do that by any stretch.
Oh, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, if you're feeling up to it, do take a picture of both hands.
Uh-huh.
But if you can take it like from this angle, like you're straight on looking at it like this, and then I can measure your finger length and stuff. But I could do a mini reading for you if you're interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
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 So I can just take a picture of my hand, each one, and send it to you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And
I
just
can
like
do
if you
that.
can do it in usually the natural sunlight works best, but to have the light shining onto your hand. And you can test it like when you actually take the picture, if you can blow it up and see. What I'm interested to see are the actual fingerprints and the ridges on your hands.
Okay.
So, when it's small, I might not be able to see them, but when I actually get the picture and I can, make it go big, I can see them really well. That's what I would be looking for. So, yeah,
Okay. Sounds amazing.
it's fun.
I'll bet.
It's just another layer of like figuring out a little bit more about who you are. And I find it just gives not permission, but a little bit more shift towards self-acceptance and inner
Sure.
peace. So yeah.
It's not an invasion at all.
Pardon?
Doesn't feel like an invasion at all. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, no, I think it's just
Another connection.
that's right. It's like another way to make, I found for me, it helped me to have just greater acceptance of self and inner peace, a little bit more
Oh,
understanding of who I am, because our
okay.
hands are basically like maps of the way that we connect to the world and how we feel things. And so you can really learn about a person's sensitivity, how much they actually like feel things, all kinds of stuff from your hands. And it's just beautiful.
Wow.
So
That is fascinating. I will definitely be sending you some pictures.
fantastic. I will look forward to it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, I will send this recording to you and be excited to share this then in book format and then as well on podcast.
Hope I didn't blow your timeline. We're almost 2 hours.
You're good. Don't even worry. This was a great interview. So
No,
I'm looking forward to sharing.
I truly enjoyed it. I needed it. I
Yes.
needed to share it again.
Oh, well, good. Good. I'm glad. Thank you.
Take care. Blessings. Have a great night.
You as well. Thank you, Jim.
We'll talk soon.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.